So, just we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq First Nation. So, I'm going to call to order, and part of the call to the order is that the chief is here with members of the emergency measures team that have been working early morning and mid-afternoon every day since the onset of Hurricane Fiona. But I know for myself over the last couple of days, I've been out to the all three reception centers. And yesterday afternoon, I was down at the Confederation Center, Reception Center, and Councillor Yankoff, I believe, was there since 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, serving coffee, tea, water. And then later afternoon, I went out to see Councillor McCabe, who was at Malcolm Deer Community Center, and she and her family, along with many, many volunteers from the community, it was like a community party because there was food coming from everywhere. There was tuna sandwiches and ham sandwiches and garlic bread, you name it, it was there, and they kept bringing it in. So big shout out to both of you for all the work you've been doing. Thank you. So, Chief, did you want to follow up on what's been happening?
Your Worship, thank you. As you all know, that Fiona hit us hard. The impacts are devastating across our city, but with that devastation has really brought out the best, I think, in our citizens and our staff. We've hundreds of municipal staff working to respond and recover from this. I can tell you from the front line that the effort is really impressive. And equally impressive is the response from our citizens. Communities coming together. Our own councillors leading some of those communities in that collaborative approach to helping each other. So I think we should be very thankful for that. However, we have a road ahead of us. And as the lead for the EMO response, I can tell you that our initial process was to immobilize staff, assess the damage, open up thoroughways that were safe to do so from our fire stations, our police stations, to the hospital, to our reception centers. We've had a lot of our citizens displaced by the storm. Between our police and fire services, there was hundreds of calls in the first few hours of the storm. Truly overwhelming. But I'm very proud to say that, that our frontline, our first responders were there to answer that, and our EMO team quickly mobilized to lead that response. Very, very proud of what we've accomplished in the short term. But those accomplishments have not been just ours. We've been working with several contractors in their municipalities. We've reached out to partners, even out of province, to help us in a response. And it's really impressive to see the level of commitment from not just our citizens here in PEI, but our partners in the region to help us recover. The spotlight is on Charlottetown and our province, not the way we would traditionally like it. However, with that is a spotlight of community, and I think that is shining through, and what is getting out there into the media. But make no mistake about it, there's some long days ahead. Patience will be required from everyone. We are still in the assessment phase of what it's truly going to take to get back to a sense of norm. We are reliant on our partners like Maritime Electric to help us in that response. We're relying on our provincial partners to help us get there also. As each day passes, we'll have a clearer picture of what that will look like. But I can truly say no one really knows how long it will take for certain areas of the city to have power or have complete road access. But from the EMO side, we will keep you and the citizens updated as much as possible. We know there's a lot of questions, and we'll do our best to communicate that. Our city managers are fully engaged in this and should be given a lot of credit. There's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, right from our public works, for our planning, our comms, our fire and our police, and our CAO and Director of Corporate Services. A lot happening, one of the things that's been, I think, revealing to us is the communications gaps with our technology as provided. And I asked you, Your Worship, and members of council, to communicate to your citizens our messages. Don't assume they know. So when you're engaging them and hearing their concerns, please relay all the messages that are coming out from the city, because there is certainly a lot of challenges in the communications part. We know that there's a need for all types of services, and we're working with our partners to help provide them. Certainly from the EMO and the municipal side, we're certainly aware of our mandate and our responsibilities, and we're hoping others are also. And with that, Your Worship, certainly answer any questions I could.
Thank you, Chief. Councillor Ramsey?
Well, thank you, Chief, for the update. And I personally, as a resident and a city councillor of Charlottetown, would like to thank everybody from police, fire, and public works and everything along that line. And on behalf of all our residents in Ward 5 and from our CAO and all the staff that's been working here in overtime and all that, I'd like to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Twill.
I too like to acknowledge all the work that's been done by city staff and in collaboration with the Maritime Electrics and other contractors. But I do have some questions. And I had a brief conversation with our CAO earlier today, and that's about managing expectations. And when I talk about managing expectations, I think we have to be a little more specific when it comes to communications with our residents. For example, I did a drive-through through the entire city. I did a walk-through through 90% of Ward 4. And some of those streets are just completely annihilated with trees and lampposts and wires and you name it, it's there. I'll give you an example. Upper Prince Street from Gerald Street to Euston Street, it's just, I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. And I'm not overstating it, I'm not exaggerating it. It's going to take at least a week or longer, just in that street alone. Then you got Euston Street. The lines are still down. I understand that Upper Hillsborough Street was just opened today. Just opened not that long ago. It was devastating. Wires are still down. You can't proceed from Oliver onto Euston. Wires are still down in Euston. And there's many challenges, even at the intersection of Euston, Upper Prince, and Prince. So Gower Street's another. I think we have to be very specific in managing those expectations, and we have to just be very candid with the residents as to when they can expect A, cleanup, B, when they can expect to have power back on. It's not enough to say 48 hours or 5 hours and we're guessing or we're not guessing. I'm not saying that's happening, but we got to be realistic and reasonable when it comes to time frames and timelines. And that's what the residents are looking for right now. Okay, and as the days go from the Mondays to the Tuesdays to the Wednesdays, the voices are going to get louder. And that's not a criticism, that's not being critical, that's just human nature. And they're asking those questions. So somewhere along the line, what I'm requesting is a timeline and time frame as we, like, when can we expect Upper Prince Street, for example, from Gerald to Houston? When can we expect that street to be opened up? We have a lot of seniors living on that street. It's a school street. It's just completely blocked off from one end to the other. And when can we, like in terms of our coordination with Maritime Electric, when can we expect power on in this particular area north of Houston? As an example, like, we need that information. The residents need that information. So they're not guessing, they're not, what could be 10 days, it could be 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. They need that information. Timelines, timeframes. Thursday, you can expect this. The Maritime Electric crew is on Upper Hillsborough Street. They're working today on Upper Hillsborough Street, or they're working today on Oliver Street, or Houston. I mean, Houston is just incredibly decimated. So, Chief, that's what I'm looking for. That's what the residents are looking for.
Thank you, Councillor Tweel. Chief, I think you discussed this at the EMO meetings. Do you want to respond, or do you just want to take it as feedback and then?
Well, certainly, I appreciate the councillors' comments, but please know that we are having a very coordinated response, and we are reliant on our partners like Maritime Electric. We want to make progress. We don't want to make their job harder. We know that a lot of our trees are intertwined with power lines, and what we're hearing from our partners is if we're hoping to salvage some of that and really advance the timelines that citizens want, then we have to rely on their expertise to getting that infrastructure back up. We know there's a lot of challenges. We've never seen an event like this before of this magnitude. We know there's lots of people still isolated. Our teams are working hard, and every day and twice a day is a constant assessment. And we will communicate as much as we can and as timely as we can.
Councillor MacLeod.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thanks again, Brad, on behalf of all the citizens of Charlottetown, you and your emergency measures team. But I just wanted to, when Councillor Tweel was speaking there, I just want to add that it's our job to communicate to our residents too, right? And I think at this point, we're still in an emergency crisis. Expectations are too far down the road. We still got a lot of people that don't have something to eat, or do they have the resources to get something to eat? That has to be concentrated on. If your residents are complaining when they got a roof over their head, some people might say you should be fortunate, because there is a lot out there right now that don't have that. And these guys are doing the best they can. And I think, our job is to make sure we tell our residents that, look, you know what, the crews are working as hard as they can, and the city is a mess. It doesn't matter what part of the city you go to, we're all have the same problem. And I just, show patience, explain to your residents that things are going as good as they possibly can, and we got the best of teams, and community spirit is second to none, and that everybody will get dealt with in due time. But just let them know that there's still people out there that haven't had a meal in 3 or 4 days, and showers and hot water or cold water for that matter. So just keep those things in mind when we're talking to our residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Bernard.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Brad, you and your crew. I think, when you tour around, the devastation is just unbelievable. I mean, nobody could have envisioned. We knew it was going to be bad. We had all kinds of warnings, but I don't think anybody envisioned this. This is unbelievable. I mean, telephone poles down the streets. You can give all kinds of examples of wharfs that are wiped out, beaches that are wiped out. It's just, until you get around, start seeing some of the damage, start seeing some of the videos, you don't realize. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of time. And I understand what you're saying, and yes, we should try and not have people's hopes up too high, saying the power's going to be on in 2 days' time, when we don't know that. I think we have to manage expectations, but this is going to take time, and I think, to me, we really have to stress the amount of work that these people are doing. I know I've been doing the drive around, the walk around also, and what I've seen so far, very well managed. Crews are working hard. There's a lot of stuff being moved out. Roads are starting to open. There's a lot to be opened, but there's a lot of work done in this short period so far. So to me, you're off on the right track. It's going to take time, especially when you get those power lines down. I mean, I was down on Belmont Street, Park Street. Holy lifted. Like, you think a bomb went off. This is just unreal. It's like a war zone. There's telephone poles down everywhere. There's wires down everywhere. Kudos to these guys, Maritime Electric. I mean, there seems to be crews everywhere. And now I understand, I think there's another 30, 40 crews coming in from other provinces to help them out. So from what I can see, everything that can be done is being done, and that's what we want to hear. But I do think that we have to really stress that patience is going to be needed. I know people's patience are going to start wearing thin, especially when you have no power, you can't have a shower. But I've been at, as Julie, been at the community centers, the reception centers, and Hillsborough Park's been packed. But it's been very good. They're playing cards, they're charging their phones, there's people bringing in food. The city is providing snacks. So far, it's been really good. But I understand this is not going to be a week. This is going to be a long time. A long time. And just look at any of the, Richmond Square. I don't know, there's a tree standing, a heritage tree left. Victoria Park, I mean, everywhere you look is level. Behind the hospital, that whole forest, 50% of those trees, what looks like are down. So it's going to take time. And I think from what I can see, the priorities are set. I mean, the hospital is up and running. They have a sequence of emergency detail that they want to get to from one step to the next. So appreciate the work. Hope the guys keep up the good work. The communication between the EMO seems to be right on track. And I think we've been getting some emails and some updates, which I appreciate. And so now what we'll do is, after hearing you tonight, Brad, is I'll be going to the reception centers and passing on that information so they'll have it. Because a lot of people, everybody's been using their cell phones. We're into that lifestyle now, and the cell phones have been down in East Royalty anyway. So, and the odd text messages come through. There's been no emails. Some will come through, and then you can't respond. So I don't know if there's a tower down or whatever, but I mean, I know they're working on it. But I think it's up to us now to get that message out as best we can when we get the information from you guys. So, again, thank you.
Councillor Yankoff.
Just quickly, because I know we have a rather large agenda, and it would be nice to get back to these reception centers and see how we can help. I just, to build on what my fellow councillors have said today, I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, we are forever grateful for the work that's being done by the staff and by EMO office and et cetera. I just wanted to give a little shout out today of something in particular that I witnessed at the reception center, at the Confed Center, and it just showed that sense of community and that sense of how people are just pulling together once again, as we did in the pandemic and as we are doing once again in this horrific hurricane. And that was a group of international students from the Philippines showed up today with hot meals for 300 people. And it was unbelievable. And that sense of community and that sense of everyone just, binding together in such a crisis, it was moving and it was beautiful. And we need to remember those small moments as we get through day after day after day. And big shout out to them. So thank you.
Councillor Yankoff, thank you very much. Chief, do you mind bringing in the EMO? I know some of them are in the park. Do you want to just come in, guys, please?
Come on.
And
Come on. No. Come right in.
so this is some of the team.
Where's Tim? Get Tim in here. Tim. He's on the
Carly's been there, Doug DeMay, Donna, and also Sue. So again, a big thank you. Look, I know it's going to be a long haul. We're fully behind you, and all the best wishes and best luck. It's going to be, as I said, a long haul. Thank you. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, any declarations of conflict of interest? Okay. We have the agenda here, approval of the agenda.
You
Donna, do you have something to add?
Yes, could I add a new resolution under new business, Your Worship? It has to do with the extraordinary expenditures that we are incurring as a result of Hurricane Fiona.
Any problem with that? No? Councillor Ramsey, did you have your hand up for something to add? No, I didn't. Okay, so that's added under new business. Okay, discussion items, reports. The Sustainable Procurement Action Plan, I think we've deferred that.
Yes, we have, Your Worship.
Katrina has been very involved, I think, out in Malcolm Dare Center, and she said, could I please postpone it until our next meeting? No, Councillor Twill, I think it just came in. Donna, was it the last minute?
I'm sorry, what's that, Your Worship?
Councillor Twill didn't know about it. It's under his standing committee.
It was the same no, I'm sorry, I didn't get to talk to you today, but she's too exhausted to come.
Okay, is that all right? Okay, so we have finance resolutions. We have proposed parkland dedication for the Bildco subdivision, proposed parkland dedication for Albert Cohen subdivision. And that's it. So Frank's here. Do you want to start with the first one, Donna? Do you want to read it aloud?
Sorry,
And then
Your Worship.
Frank has,
I was thinking about something else.
yeah.
That the city of, moved by Councillor Duffy and seconded by Councillor Bernard, that the city of Charlottetown accepts the developer's proposed parkland dedication of 1.8 acres for the Bildco subdivision as indicated on the attached subdivision concept plan, and that the planning department will enter into a development agreement with the developer.
Councillor Twill.
Cash in lieu versus dedicated green space parkland. I thought we were moving away from accepting cash in lieu and concentrating more so on dedicated green space parkland for these particular developments, so that the people that end up living in these subdivisions will have that luxury and have that, to my mind, a true necessity of having access to parkland, whether it's passive or active. I would think that would be indispensable to any type of development, whether it's a subdivision or apartment complexes or whatever the case may be. And I just have those questions. Frank?
Do you want to speak to it there, Councillor Bernard?
Yeah, I do chair the committee, so I think I will. I might have missed something there, because this resolution is, we're taking 1.8 acres of land. And I think what your statement was, you're concerned that we weren't getting enough land?
Pardon me?
Was your concern we weren't getting enough land?
He thinks it's cash.
Is it not cash?
No, it's land.
Oh, it's land.
It's
1.8
land.
acres.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Okay.
must be thinking of the other resolution.
Okay. Okay.
So there is no
Cash.
cash in lieu or?
No.
We
So
accept the developer proposed parkland dedication of 1.8 acres. That's what we're accepting here, 1.8 acres. What we'd like to do is make a lot of the subdivisions now have, instead of these small mini parks, you'd like to have one big area where they can go, they can play, they can do frisbee, they can play baseball. This is 1.8 acres, which we're quite pleased with.
Okay.
Okay.
Question?
So there's no compromise in here at all, right?
No.
Okay.
No, it's 10%, right, Councillor Bernard? Is it 10% of the
Your Worship.
development?
Is this the temper?
I think it's a little bit more, but go ahead, Frank.
Frank?
Yeah, Your Worship, if I may just say, it's actually 16.5% we've been able to negotiate with this.
Yeah.
So, okay, then the question becomes, why is a resolution required? Why isn't this just not part of the development?
Because every time we accept land, it goes through finance, and we have to accept it. City council has to accept it.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's been practiced for a long time.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
it always has. Because we can't just accept it. I mean, council has to. We just can't be a committee accept it and say, yeah, that's what we're taking. Council has to agree to it.
Okay, Councillor Ramsey has called the question. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, 8-0. Donnie, can you read the next one? please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Duffy and seconded by Councillor Bernard, that the City of Charlottetown accepts the developer's proposed parkland dedication of 4.6 acres for the Albert Cohen subdivision, PID number 191742 and 778308, as indicated on the attached subdivision concept plan, and that the city agrees to a land swap of city property, PID number 822916, for developer property lot 109, to increase the size of the proposed parkland to an estimated total size of 5 acres, and that the developer agrees to contribute up to $50,000 to the city to construct a pedestrian bridge across Wrights Creek within the proposed parkland, and further, that this will be included in the planning department's development agreement with the developer.
Councillor Bernard?
Again, Your Worship, we were very pleased with this arrangement that we had made. We ended up getting a little more than the city would normally take, and plus, a lot of this is a wooded area. So there'll be trails and so on. There's a bridge stream, Wrights Creek, I believe it is, that there'll be a footbridge to go across, so people that live over in McCrae Drive will be able to come through to this parkland. So it's a lot of wooded area, and then the extra lot that we got to bring up to 5 acres is an open space area. So there is some small open space that will come anyway, but we did a land swap, got this extra lot. So total of 5 acres for a very large area where the kids will have playground equipment so on to play, and other people that want to enjoy the woods and through the trails and so on will be the cities to look after and for the residents to use for years to come. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bernard? Question, Councillor Twill?
Yep. What is the proposed cost for the pedestrian bridge?
Sorry?
What is the proposed cost for the pedestrian bridge?
Well, it says here he's looking for $50,000 contribution, so I assume that's the price of it.
$50,000 for the pedestrian bridge?
Yeah.
That's the total cost?
Well, the developer agrees to contribute up to $50,000.
Yeah.
So,
So is that what the total cost of the bridge is?
I don't know, it's
The-
up to $50,000. So if the total cost is $30,000, he would pay up to $30,000.
He's going to build the bridge, right?
Up to $50,000.
Yeah, he's building the bridge.
Well, I'm looking for the total cost of the pedestrian bridge.
I don't know what the total
You don't know
cost
what
is.
it's,
He's
Frank? Do you know what it
contributing
is?
up to $50,000.
Your
Frank,
Worship, right now at this time, we haven't got the exact price confirmed because the prices are rising up and down. So we've estimated on the high side of 50,000. We're hoping it doesn't cost that much. Based on our last bridge we constructed a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, it was 30,000 or 25,000. So we're hoping it's going to be less, but we had the developers agreed to contribute up to 50,000, so we should be covered.
Okay, so this is in addition to the bridge that was just built, right? The new bridge, Wrights Creek, is that what we're talking about?
No,
No?
Andrews Pond.
no. This proposed subdivision is off Norwood Road.
Right.
Runs back to Andrews Pond. What's the city pond now?
What side?
What side?
What side? On Julie's side?
Pardon me?
On Ward 8 side? Or Ward
10.
9?
It's Ward 10. Ward 9.
Ward 9.
Ward 9.
Councillor
So,
McCabe.
so it
it's on
goes
that
from
side.
Norwood Road,
Right,
and the land goes back to Andrews Pond, the Barber's Pond that feeds into Andrews Pond.
okay,
Some people call it Wrights Creek, but it's actually Barber's Pond. So where that stream is, the bridge will go in so that the people that live in let's say, McCrae Drive or East Rowley on that side are able to access this park area in the land and the trails and the playground equipment. So it's basically making it so that there's a lot more people able to enjoy it. There's a trail system along there now, and the trail system is on the east side of the stream. So people on the west side, where this subdivision proposal is planned to be, can't get across. And so they want to get onto the trails, you'll need to put a footbridge in to get onto the trail. So that's really
okay.
what a lot of the reason that we asked for that.
And Your Worship, I just may add one more thing. This will also allow this new development to connect to the McCrae Ball Field, the Malcolm Dare Community Center, which is being right now used as a reception center. It's going to allow them to connect to Andrews Pond trails. It's going to allow them to connect to a bunch of infrastructure already established on that side,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah, and that's in Ward 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, East Road.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm really pleased with, connectivities in this particular project. And I hope we have that same consistency right across the city when it comes to connectivity. So,
I hope so too.
yeah, good. Yeah, no, like I said, I hope we have that same consistency and continuity across the city. I think it's a great project. I've always preached connectivity. And, like I said, I hope we have that same consistency and continuity across the city.
Okay.
Yeah, we may not preach it as much, but we certainly do it. So, yeah.
Okay, question? Yep, question's called. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. 8-0. I think that's it, Frank? Thank you. Councilors, hold on, just one second. Just one second.
No, go home.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, we got another one there? Thank you.
Your Worship?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
That was a good point that Frank made, because it does have access to the outdoor rink, does have access to the Ball Diamond, does have access to Malcolm Dara, this footbridge that Councillor Tweel was asking about.
Yeah.
It does really open up the potential for a lot of people to
Okay.
use the facilities.
Thank you.
Moved by Councillor McLeod and seconded by Councillor Duffy. This is a Public Works and Urban Beautification. That is per the conditions of the tender for 2022 construction sidewalks, the submission of Earthform Corporation in the amount of $967,050 plus all applicable taxes be accepted. And the council approves a budget transfer from Fire Station Number 3 capital budget accounts to cover all costs over the original budgeted amount.
Okay, Councillor McLeod? You're all right? Okay. Councillor Tweel and Councillor Drawn.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
so-
Councillor Drawn first, then Councillor Tweel.
Thank you, Worship. I'm just reading in this. I'm wondering, are these three sidewalks in the 50 sidewalks that we rated? Are they the next, like, 4, 5, and 6?
They were part of this year's package of what
Okay.
sidewalks we're going to get done this year.
Okay, so, like, how come that's not in the budget? If that's in the budget, if they were done, why weren't they previously done? Like, so what I'm asking here is, like, staff is saying that, nobody can do them this year, and we're at a peak now. Like, why are we pushing ahead to get the tender instead of redoing it in January or February or March, where hopefully more people can bid on these sidewalks, and hopefully the price will go down. I just don't see it. Like, we do this all the time, whereas there's questions of, we want to get the tender out early in the new budget year. So this is the last thing, and now we're going to take money out of the fire department. I just don't understand why we're not going with staff's recommendation to wait until the spring to get a better price.
Thank you very much, Councillor Drong. So these, up until now, as you recall, we have our sidewalk plan in place, and it's been well notified that these sidewalks were the projects for this year. So what happened, though, was during the engineer and design stage, it got delayed, and so that's why the tenders were later coming out. And when it went to the board, the Public Works Board, the general consensus was that we always stuck a neck out saying that these should be done. And that, as you know yourself, Councillor Durong, in your area there with the sidewalks that was proposed over 3 years, right? And the frustration you had from that is how this Public Works Committee said, you know what, we stuck our neck out, we learned our lessons, let's keep going. And unfortunately, the cost is up, but the board felt that we should stick to our guns, and when we say we're going to do things, keep going, keep it moving, keep it rolling. So outside of that, I guess unless some of the other board members want to speak from the Public Works, or unless Albert, you might have something to say from the staff's perspective as well. So it's up to anyone else. That's the best explanation I can give.
Just 1 second. Councillor Yanka, Councillor
Thank you. I'm actually a member of Public Works, and I completely understand where Councillor Duran's questions have come from. And one of the things we discussed at Public Works was there is no guarantee that the price will be less. It could be twice as much next year. So if we don't continue on, then the sidewalk plan we have has, then next year we do these, and then the ones that were for next year become even later. And the prices will, we have no guarantee what the cost is going to be next year. So when the question was posed to the staff, is there money in the budget that we can find? And they confirmed that there was. That's why we thought it should come to council and we should proceed with these sidewalks. So I just wanted to give a little bit more clarification, from when I was at the meeting. So totally get where you're coming from on that, but I think we have to, in my opinion, I think we need to forge ahead and get some of these sidewalks done so that we have time to do the others next year. So thank you.
Councillor Bernard and Councillor Duffy.
Because maybe, yep, I am now. Okay. I guess I'm just looking for clarification. Kind of, I read the report where it says that Public Works staff have concerns about approving the project, and I appreciate your explanation there, but I'm just looking for confirmation. Is this a recommended project by staff, or is staff actually not thinking it's a good time? Sorry.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so thanks for your question, Councilor McCabe. Anytime that there's a major, increase in the fluctuation of a cost and expectations, it's staff's responsibility to say, whoa, we're spending more than what we want to spend. So that's, and Albert can explain them himself as well, but that was their major concern. It's not that we don't want to do, they didn't want to do them, or it was just the fact that the price did go up significantly, and they wanted to make sure that the committee and the council understood that. And then, of course, once we asked staff, could there be possibly money there somewhere that's not being used, and they said yes, there is. So that made and the further this falls behind, well, the further as we now have a plan, right? We have a 5-year sidewalk plan, and we're trying to stick to that. So we back these up, then what's going to happen to year 2, year 3, year 4? Right? So that's kind of, if there was no money, then we'd have to say have no choice but to say no, for sure. Yeah. But unless Albert, you'd like to explain more, feel free.
No, that's thanks. That's you pretty much hit the nail on the head. We looked at it when it came in, and they were over budget, and based on the schedules, we recommended that maybe we wait and retender. But again, there's risks in that as well. So we brought it to committee, and this is the way we want to proceed.
Councillor Duran, is your mic on there? Did you want to ask a question? I know it was there. Good. Okay, Councillor Duffy.
The only comment I have, it's not 3, I don't think it's 3 sidewalks, it's West Ridge Crescent from Wilmot to Wedgwood Avenue, is that correct? No. Is it 3 separate sidewalks?
3 separate sidewalks.
Oh, I thought it was just the Westwood Crescent one. Okay, stand corrected. Thank
So now just one more question there, if you don't mind.
Just one second. Who's got their mic on? Councillor Twill, can you turn this off? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor Duran.
I just said, so if I get myself corrected, we built 4 or 5 sidewalks this year, is that right? Because I know, like, we were waiting Centennial, and that's in the process. So these would be the next ones in line? And when we say we didn't know if we had the money, so staff come up with $1 million that you didn't have the money? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, no, yes, exactly. We asked if there was money that could cover the over cost, and they said yes. Yep. Thank you.
I'm good with that now. I just didn't understand why we were going ahead when nobody can do the work now, but if they're the next in line, then that's fine with me.
Councillor Twill, you're on.
Yep. So we're in the last week of September. How realistic is it that this work is going to get done if the tender's awarded? I mean, I thought, I can recall projects last year that the manager was late getting quotes from, and and to use his words, unfortunately, you can't proceed because there's not enough time. So is there enough time to do these projects? Now, 26th of September, it's getting later, the weather's getting a lot more challenging. So how realistic is it that this work is going to get done this year based on the fact that we're going to award the tender?
Councillor MacLeod.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you for your question, Councillor Twill. So we can only go with the word of the contractor. We put out the tender and they committed to starting the projects this year. Whether they get them all finished, they didn't think so. So that's why they're being upfront about it and said that whatever they didn't finish this year, they'll certainly finish next year. But they have all, I mean, let's face it, COVID, the reason, things are was slower getting these tenders out was because of just the fact that labor shortages and whatnot's happened. So now we got the storm, who knows, right? I mean, we can only do business as we see it in front of us, and the contractors themselves have committed to saying that they can start these projects, but they probably won't get to finish them due to the facts that you just stated, that it is getting later in the year. Thank you.
Councillor Duffy, this is your second time. Do you want to just sum up?
Really quick, well, they don't have, once they accept the tender for $967,000, right? They can do it 3 years from now, but they still are only going to get $967,000.
No, there is a commitment on behalf of the city that they do it in a certain time frame.
Well, why? Because the purpose of the whole thing is to halt this escalation of costs, right? So if you halt it at 9,667, you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah. Well, we're in the driver's seat, but unfortunately, it's the cost of things that's causing the increase. The development, the
I understand that
earth
the
former
costs
just
keep
not
going, and we
yeah.
don't want to pay the increasing cost, right?
Right. Well, like
Well-
you say, moving forward after this year, before we commit to next year's work, we're going to have to say to the developers, if prices still continue, then we won't be. Well, we're going to have to slow down on some of the work.
But I think the tender is a two-way street. It protects the city. Maybe I'm out to lunch here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, the tender is for what's the time frame on the tender, Albert? Is it 6 months?
Thanks, Your Worship. They've committed to a start date of October 24th and finish in May of 2023.
There you are.
Again, we don't know. We haven't awarded it to them yet. So once we award the project, if we do, then we sit down and negotiate, and then we sign a contract agreement with, and then depending on weather, depending on a multitude of things, we see how things go.
Okay, question?
No, I got a question.
No, Councillor Twilly, again, we're trying to keep it down to 2 questions per councillor. You've already had 2, 3 questions, so.
Oh, I only had one.
And we do want to get moving because Councillor Yankoff and Councillor McCabe have to get back to the reception center to volunteer for their community.
Spoke once.
Okay, finish up the question. What's your question?
So I'll go back to what I said earlier. It's mind-boggling that, on one hand, the manager would say, I'll go back to last year, we can't proceed with this project, there's not enough time. You just confirmed it, that the contractors are saying, the commitment's made to May of next year. So we're going to award the contract, and yet the work's not going to be completed to next year. So, October 24th is what you said, Albert?
Yeah, that's correct. That's when they've stated in the tender that they would start. I mean, they could start earlier. They just have that date in there.
So October 24th, so, it could be snowing then, right? Could be snowing then, so I don't know. I just, once again, I go back to, it just seems very inconsistent with the recommendations coming from management. Very inconsistent.
Question, Colin? Councillor Bernard, do you want to sum up, or do you want to?
I'll sum up, yeah. I think a couple of things that somewhat missed. I think, one, I think when promises are made and commitments are there and people have expectations that you try and move on. 2, I think if you want to push it off, you have so much money budgeted, so the 23-24 budget, as the chair alluded to, something's got to fall off that list. So I think a couple of things for me is one, the expectations were made. It passed the capital budget. It was all along that these sidewalks were going to get done. Now we have the contract saying October 24th is the drop dead start. That doesn't mean they can't start earlier. You know what? And Council Tweel, if they can't do it, they'll do it next year. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think Public Works, what I'm hearing is they're trying to stay on track. And they're doing the best they can to stay on track. Once they award this, and they've been in consultations with the contractor, they're saying it's got to be done. You got to start it by October 24th. That doesn't mean the contractor can't start earlier.
Okay. Questions called? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, 8-0. And do you have another one there, Donna?
Yes, I do, Your Worship.
Please.
Moved by Councillor MacLeod and seconded by Councillor Duffy, that as per the conditions of the proposed change order for additional geothermal wells for the new city works building currently under construction and the submission of Fitzgerald and Snow Limited be approved in the amount of $238,916 plus all applicable taxes.
Yes, on the new city works building, I'm going to approve this expenditure, but was there damage done to that building as a result of the storm in terms of the roof?
Thanks, Councillor. Yeah, there was a little bit of damage. I've spoken to the contractor. They're looking at fixing it, but it doesn't look like anything extensive has been done.
Okay, question's been called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 8-0. Albert, is that it? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just 1 second, Donna. Just 1 second. Councillors, Fred, Cody. Okay, you ready to go, Donna?
Moved by Councillor Julie McCabe and seconded by Councillor Kevin Ramsey. The council allow free meter and parkade parking on Friday, October 21st, 2022 from 10 a.m. forward in support of downtown Charlottetown's Small Business Week.
I have a question.
Councillor Tweel.
Thank you.
And Councillor McCabe is.
Last year, when we embarked upon this pilot project, I had requested information back as to how the pilot project worked in terms of consultation with the downtown business community, in terms of consultation with the folks that work in meters, that write the tickets for meter violations. And we were supposed to get a report back from the downtown business and from the meters, folks that are working, handing out the tickets, and just making sure that we have information as to the pros and cons of how the program would work and what the disparities and discrepancies are, and to give us a much better synopsis as to what took place. Do we have that?
Thank you, Councillor Teal, for your question. We did have discussion at our committee meeting. The downtown business obviously feel that it was beneficial. There wasn't a formal report presented, but it was highly recommended by staff that we, again, offer this one-day free parking initiative to celebrate small town business downtown.
Okay, so there was no report.
Just discussion. There was no formal report presented.
But Councillor McCabe, there is a report ongoing about the parking ticket forgiveness program and all the cross-sectional or the peer evaluation that we did with our other communities. That's going forward too, right?
Yes, that's correct. They were given direction at our last committee meeting to continue consultation with the downtown business communities.
Councillor Bernard?
Yeah, I'm just curious, because this seems to come up every once in a while. Obviously council doesn't mind doing this, but we don't always hear positive results from it. And I'm just wondering, and actually I think Councilor Tweed was asked a similar question. Do we know that this is what the downtown business want? Because my understanding is there's concerns about when we do this, there's lots of people parking those spots all day, and then they can't get into the merchants to shop. And so I just wonder, and actually you may have some answers on that, Councilor Yankoff. If it works and they want it, sure, no problem. But if it's more of a detriment, was this vented through downtown chamber?
From my understanding, yes. Councillor Yankoff, I think you sit on the board for downtown Charlottetown. Maybe you could provide more information from those discussions.
It was a request from Downtown Charlottetown Inc., as it was last year as well. And, you know, to Council Tweel's comment, maybe we do need a little more in-depth information going forward for next year. They seem to think it's a show of support for our small businesses who have been really hard hit over the last couple of years. And although it's just a small gesture, it is a gesture, and I can take it back to Downtown Inc. at our next committee meeting if you wish, and get a little bit more information and report back to the city.
Just to follow up.
Councillor Tweedy, you can follow up with your second question, and then Councillor Bernard, same thing.
Okay, look, anything to entice and encourage businesses in the downtown, I'm all for it. But, you know, last year, Mr. Kelly sat in that chair, I asked for a report, in-depth report, so that it would be brought back to council. Council would have that information as to, again, what the disparities were, what the discrepancies were, how the businesses felt, and not necessarily from the downtown business, but there's lots of businesses in the downtown that are not necessarily members of the Downtown Business Association. Plus, I think we have our own people here working in City Hall that are working every day of the week. They know, they would know it better than anyone, and they were to be involved in that collaboration. So I wanted to have that information so we could look at, you know, what do we need to do to add or delete, subtract, amend? I'm not sure. I'm just disappointed that report didn't. I mean, commitment was made to have that report, and I'm disappointed that we don't have the report.
Okay, Councillor Bernard. Oh, do you want to respond, Councillor McCabe?
Yeah, I do. And because you do sit on our committee, Councillor Tweel, let's bring that up at our next committee meeting, and we'll make sure that that happens. Okay.
Councillor Bernard. Councillor Bernard.
Thank you. It's Friday, October 21st, so looking for it. I think, you know, assuming downtown Charlottetown knows what their clients want, I'd be okay with it. But if there's other members, there's other retailers that aren't members, I mean, maybe you want to get it confirmed, or you want to get it confirmed. We can still bring this back at October's meeting.
Yeah.
It's not till the 21st, so.
Okay. Question called? Yes. Yeah, question's called. Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 8-0.
So we're not going to get the information?
Well, do you want to, is that what you're asking, to defer it?
Well, if we want to make sure that this is going to work, I mean, my understanding is when we've done this before, we've had a lot of complaints about people saying they're taking up the parking spots all day.
Okay, but.
And I think Council Tweel was saying he was supposed to get a report back.
Okay, so you're asking, are you putting a motion on the floor to defer
To
it?
delay this till
Okay.
early
So-
October, yeah.
But I know it's been presented through our committee that this was presented by both our Wayne and Laurel, that Wayne indicated that this is something that was requested and that they do want that from downtown. It's been validated by Councillor Yankoff, and I don't know if we really have to wait for one day of free parking, if we could proceed, and we will look at that. It's not long-term, it's one day. It's a way of showing support to our downtown businesses. The request came,
Okay.
and it was recommended by staff.
Okay.
Questions on the floor. All those in favor, please put up your hand. Cody and Rivard absent. Go ahead there, Don.
Moved by Councillor Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Bernard, that the City of Charlottetown accept the highest scoring proposal from Boyden in the amount of $55,070, excluding taxes and related expenses, to provide consulting services per the Executive Search and Recruitment CAO file number 2022-151, and that the total estimated project cost in the amount of $55,070, excluding taxes and related expenses, be approved and funded out of the 2022-2023 operational budget as per the attached documents effective September 26, 2022.
Councillor Tweel and then Councillor Duran.
Thank you. So I think we agreed that the selections of the new Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Charlottetown would be left to the new council. We all agreed to that. But along the line, our CAO recommended that we contract out for proposals for, I guess, the lack of a better description, a headhunting firm to go out and develop a list, as I understand it. So in developing that list, are they going to narrow it down to the five candidates like the previous time? Or are they just going to come in with a list of 10 names? I'm looking for specifics on how that is to unfold and what their ultimate responsibility is. I know there's a terms of reference here in the report, but I think it's important we air that publicly.
Your worship, I think that the consensus, the agreement of council was that we would prepare for the new council to have a short list of candidates, be it 3 or 5, whatever the number might be. That's what this is asked for. This is asked for final selection as well. Take us right through to the final selection. But the process is to get all of the groundwork done in advance of the new council taking office and the new council to make the decision.
Okay, so, yeah. I know, just a follow-up. Okay, so thank you, Donna. So it hasn't been narrowed down to whether it's 3 or 5.
I think it is 5.
Okay, 5.
Yes, I believe it is 5.
Okay, great. So then the new council, as I understand it, will select a selections committee, which will consist of, say, 4 members of city council, and then they will look at the 3 to 5 or 5 candidates and then narrow it down from there, and then bring a recommendation to council. Is that the process? So that's similar to what took place the last time round. There was a firm that was hired, and then I think it was that firm went out and selected 5, and then it got narrowed down to 2. 2 made a presentation to city council, and in the final analysis, there really wasn't much flexibility in terms of council entertaining let's say the 5 candidates, whether it's and questioning them and having discussion with them individually or collectively. It was just down to 2, and then, here's the recommendation. So, with all due respect, I'm not so sure that process, as we move along in that stage of the process, I'm not so sure that is the most effective way to go. I can appreciate hiring a firm to, bring you down to 5 names, but I think from there, council collectively, the 10 members of city council from there should be involved in that process when you're looking at 5 candidates, because the selections committee is going to go through their process, do the ratings, and then could say, here are the 2 candidates. That's my concern as to how this thing's going to unfold.
Councillor Drawn? You can answer them all in one.
I know council, thought about this. Has there ever been a thought that, here we are paying $55,000 for this company, plus expenses and taxes, so it could jump to, let's say $75,000. And then we go through the process, and, this council and the council before that, we always talked about we want someone to oversee the financial aspects of the city corporation. And then we moved into the legal aspect, that we needed someone with a legal background, and we were fortunate enough to get one person that was, head of the province in the financial auditing aspect, and a lady that was in charge of, corporate services, and she was doing quite well as a lawyer. Instead of spending 75 plus money, did we ever think of going with a co-CAO with the 2 that were dismissed from the city corporation, or make one the CEO if it has to be someone in charge? We could save this money. They could be back in place. I don't think, it might have been a conflict between them and the current CAO, but I'm not the current, the other one, sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'll retract that. But,
Wouldn't know
has
either
there
of them.
ever been any thought just to, offer these 2 individuals employment back, or, we'd save money and then have the expertise that we would? I would like to see that. I had, you know, a good working relationship with the both of them, and they're both very intelligent. I just hate to see us spending extra money when these people are so intelligent that they could run the corporation very quickly. And maybe they don't want to be part of it, and that's okay too. But I just thought we could maybe reach out to them. Just my thought. And before we spend this money, but that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Councillor Yankoff, and then Donna, then you can sum it up. Councillor Yankoff?
Thank you. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to read the complete request for proposals for the executive search and recruitment for the CAO. I wasn't part of this the last time around, as I wasn't on council at the time. However, I have been part of recruiting companies in other roles, and it seems very accurate and precise on the process. And I'm just wondering, is there anything in the MGA that I might have missed or didn't see? Because from what I understand, this was part of the request through the MGA that, you know, this is what we have to do, but maybe I'm not correct on that. So Donna, maybe you could just sum up all of our questions before we
Yeah,
proceed.
she's taken them down. Yeah, yeah. Councillor Duffy?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to say is that we all know in this room who was driving this change at City Hall. You got what you wanted. It started out as a performance appraisal of our CAO at that time and ended up with a dismissal of our DCAO and our CAO in the process. So now you're complaining because it kind of looks a little expensive to make this change that you people wanted starting back in April or May, so to speak. So, I mean, you should have done your homework before and saw what the expenses were to make these changes. We're halfway through the process, and now we're looking for a replacement. And I think it's like, I think we should follow the plan and hire a selection person and pay the bill. You'll have the best in the land according to the point system. So just let them do their job and give it, I don't care if it's 5 or 6 or 3 or 2 or what. I think the person that wins will come to the cream will come to the top no matter what. So I'd say, I think we're kind of making a mountain out of a whole molehill maybe, but that's not for me to say. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, Donna, do you want to just go? Councillor Bernard, did you have a question? Comment.
No, I just want to say that, we've had a couple of DCAOs that were terminated. So since that, there's been a lot of accusations. Nothing's been proven. Nothing's been proven. That's why we want to get the best to go through, to do the review that's been asked for. But we've been around here, we've seen everything that's happened, and we know that nothing's been proven. There's accusations made. So I think you have to finish the process. I think you want to use the best at it, because certainly we've gone through a phase here where to be an elected official doesn't feel real good these days because of the number of accusations and rumors and so on that have been out there that we feel are not true. But you know what? You're going to have to get BDO, and you're going to have to get the best to go through, do the research, and get back with the report. And so until that's done, I would prefer to start with a new CAO that's gone through this process. Thank you.
Councillor Duran, you're on your second question. Councillor Tweed, you've already had your second question. We want to get moving here, please. Councillor, just turn on your mic there, sir.
Sorry, thank you. I know, we said we want to get the best. We went through this process before. We did get the best too. There was no question they were good at their jobs. Maybe Councillor Duffy didn't really like being told what the rules were sometimes, maybe. I was told a lot of times, you can't do this, you can't do that, and I would appreciate that. I think we had the best two in place for a succession plan, and things happened, and here we are going to spend a bit more money. I mean, I knew the money was going to cost, and so that's why I can't support it. I'd like to see the other two come back. They were the best in their fields, exemplary work ethic. I can't see why we got rid of them in the first place. But again, that's my opinion only, and I just can't support this. Thank you.
Okay, Donna, can you sum up? You have a few questions here?
Your worship, we went out to tender, and as noted, we had 4 tenders, and this firm was very, very highly rated. They have searched for they are in the search for the city of Summerside right now. They've done the search on the city of Fredericton. They've had extensive municipal experience. I had the opportunity to speak to a local lawyer who has worked with them over the past 14 years. And he came in a number of different capacities, and they come highly recommended with the idea that they are the best in the municipal field. Their process is quite extensive. That they will be wanting to consult with the mayor, they'll want to consult with councillors about the type of person the kind of person that you would like to have, what they also will be speaking with, doing an online survey to see what the things that the community might be interested in seeing in the CAO. A very highly consultative package that they've presented. As you can see by the point system, it was pretty clear that they're very strong in the municipal field. They know their stuff in the municipal field. I can't say anything more than that. I mean, I was extremely impressed with them, with their proposal, but then when I spoke to a local person here that I knew and respected, I was extremely, he was so strong on them that it put them over the edge for me.
Okay, question? Questions called. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, 6, so that's, do I have to name them, Tracy? It's all right? Whoever's opposed. Okay, those opposed? Councillors Duran and Tweel. Okay, 6-2. Councillors. Okay, just 1 second, Donna. Cody and Duran. Absent. Okay.
This is the traffic amendment bylaw. To amend the City of Charlottetown traffic bylaw number 2020-TB-01 to add the definition of power-assisted bicycles as per the Highway Traffic Act and amend section 9.8 to include power-assisted bicycles. This is the second reading, Your Worship. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Charlottetown traffic bylaw number 2020-TB-01 be read a second time, and that the said bylaw be now adopted. Moved by Councillor Ramsey and seconded by Councillor Duffy.
Shall it carry? Okay, 8-0. Councillors. Councillors.
So we're not.
Okay. Okay, Donna, thank you. We do have business horizon. Do we deal with that business horizon, or do we wait for to come out of the closed session? What do you want to do?
I advise, Your Worship, that it would be best coming out of the closed session, that even though we're not going to be discussing it, that in
Okay.
order to stay with the proper process,
Okay.
that we go into our
Okay.
closed session, then we come out and we deal with it at that point in time.
I'm talking about the resolution for the extraordinary expenses too. Okay. Okay, so we need a resolution to go into closed session because,
Before we do that, can I just make on something really quickly? Because I just wanted to clarify for Councillor Duran. I just looked up our staffing bylaw, and not that I disagree with his comments that he made. I didn't work with one of our deputy CAOs, but anytime it says for the position of manager of human resources, the deputy or the CAO, that we will coordinate for hiring processes with the assistant of an external hiring firm. So I think it has to go out to an external hiring firm regardless. So I just wanted to make that comment. I'm sorry.
That noted. Thank you. Just turn on your mic there.
So I just want clarification. What are you trying to say?
I'm not trying to say, I was just clarifying when I looked up at our staffing bylaw that we are to use the assistance of an external hiring firm for those three positions, whether it's deputy CAO, or the human resource manager.
We could, you could hire on a contract for a while, test them out if that's what to get around that. We have done that in the past. I'm just saying to save the money, we have two people available. If they are available, I don't know. Both highly trained professional people, so.
Hopefully they'll
That's just
apply.
my opinion.
Okay, so I need a motion to go into closed session. Moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Ramsey. All those,
So that the public understands, can we state the reason we're going into closed session so
they're right there. Information received in confidence,
okay?
which if disclosed would likely be prejudicial to the municipality or parties involved. And 5D, well, actually 5B, human resource matters including labor relations or employee negotiations. So they are under section 119, subsection 1B and D. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to clarify that, Councillor Yankoff. So we're going into closed session. If you want to just Okay, so, council, I just want to thank you for your patience. As Michael O'Grady stated, and others have stated, here we are, 2 days away, 2 days post Hurricane Fiona, and we did come here to make some decisions. So I appreciate that, and I know Donna, as CAO, appreciates your efforts to get in here. We're not encouraging people to go out and drive the streets. We just had to make these decisions tonight, especially this resolution that will be coming up on extraordinary expenses to cover the cost for combating or dealing with Hurricane Fiona. And we have three resolutions? Okay. Do you want to read the first, please?
Yes, Your Worship. This
Thank
is
you.
the Human Resources, Communications and Administration. The resolution is moved by Councillor Yankup and seconded by Councillor Bernard. Resolved that the City of Charlottetown accept the amended salary grid in the recently negotiated agreements between the City of Charlottetown and the Atlantic Police Association, January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2025. And two, that Council approve all civilians within the APA collective agreement to receive a 2% salary increase for 2021, 2022, and 2023, as well as applicable cost of living COLA increases as per the attached document effective September 26, 2022.
Questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 7-0. Okay, Donna, you want to read the next one?
The second, Your Worship, is from Finance. It's moved by Councillor Duffy and seconded by Councillor Ramsey, that the City Council authorize the CAO to approve extraordinary expenditures incurred by the City of Charlottetown for the cleanup of Hurricane Fiona, and further that the CAO will report to Council all the extraordinary expenses resulting from Hurricane Fiona.
And Donna, just to clarify, any of this could be funded by the province and the federal in any type of financial assistance, correct?
Your Worship,
Thank
we'll
you.
be making an application.
Yep. Questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 7-0. Okay. Yes, sir? Go ahead. Councilors.
Changes that need to be made when the City of Charlottetown, in its wisdom, decides to declare a state of emergency, and not be penalized in terms of government funding with the provincial and federal level. So I hope we can discuss that.
Yeah, and Donna, if we can get someone on staff just to look at the legislation, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes, Your Worship.
And is there a motion? Oh, Councillor Bernard.
I just want to make a comment on that, because the last storm that we had, I know,
219?
yeah, the province called a state of emergency. I mean, it opened up the door for funding for us, for Victoria Park, for the work we needed to do, and it opened that door.
That was White Wand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It opened the door for us to get a lot of funding. So I believe they called a state of emergency yesterday, today, did they not?
No,
Not yet?
they haven't called it. They've just called in the military.
Wow, it won't be long.
So, again, my thanks for coming in here tonight, and thank you, Councillor McCabe. I know you overstayed, and so did Councillor Yankup. They wanted to get down to their reception centers. Thank you. We need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor McLeod, seconded by Councillor Bernard. All those in favor? Thank you.